Hey folks, welcome back to the Social Media Stewards. This is episode 3, where we're going to be discussing all the rules and regulations we'd like to see changed for more exciting and action-packed racing. But before we get into that, I'm Ray. I'm a content creator who goes by the name of Traumatized Ewok. I stream over on Twitch. I'm a Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton fan. Might be a bit confusing today with the McLaren, but overall I am just an F1 fan. And I love every bit of it. And that's why we started this podcast, because we love talking about the racing, the drivers, and all of the incidents, shall we say. But yeah, that's me. I'll hand you over to Mark.
Yeah, I'm Mark. I'm a precision engineer by day and F1 fan by night. As you can probably tell, I like Red Bull, and I am a Max Verstappen fan. I can already feel the booze coming in, but that's okay. Because to be fair, the same as Ray, I just love the actual racing itself, and we love to see, all of the epic racing that we have managed to see in the past few years. But there are ways that we can improve that, or that we would like to see to help improve it. And this is something that me and Ray, and I know a lot of F1 fans, have discussed in the past. And so that's what we thought we would discuss tonight with you all.
Yeah, we've discussed this so many times, haven't we? But like so many different things, so many different conversations over the years, as different incidents pop up and all the inconsistencies show. So we do actually have a little list of points that we'd like to hit tonight, but we are just obviously going to chat the way that we normally do. But the one place we're going to start is something we said many, many a times. We've been sitting on the couch watching races, and that we think the pinnacle of motorsport, F1, requires a permanent team of stewards.
Yes, that is something we have spoke a lot about. I mean, the difference between track to track from the stewards' decisions, you look at things and you go, well, last week that was 5-second penalty for such and such.
Yeah.
This week, all of a sudden, it's a 10-second penalty. Other times it's, we're just not going to bother investigating that. And you think, where is the consistency in this?
Yeah.
If at least if you had one team of dedicated stewards that went to every race of the year, you would hope there would be some form. If it would be uniform across the season, or at least that is what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
It is hard.
I think you wouldn't get rid of all the inconsistencies, because every track's slightly different, and the racing's going to be a little bit different. But at least you'd have a better understanding week to week at where those stewards' minds are, in terms of, you're like, okay, well, they kind of let this go at the other track because there was a bit more space, and but they've had to nail it down a bit here because it was a little bit unsafe. And as long as you've got the same guys making the decisions week on week, you can kind of get used to their decision-making process, and over the season you can kind of understand where they're going with it. But right now, as you say, week one, it could be, it's just Rubin's racing, fantastic, brilliant, carry on with it, guys. And the next one, it's, you made contact with his tire. 5 seconds for you, buddy boy. And you're like, well, no, because they were just allowed to go at it last week. So yeah, it's that inconsistency. Like, we're at the pinnacle of motorsport, where you're at the cutting edge of technology. You're at the peak of driver ability.
Yeah.
But you don't have one set of stewards who are asserting the rules week in and week out. And you're going, oh, look, we've got a different driver steward this week. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, as we've said, all right, if you want a certain set of stewards, you've got to say they cannot be affiliated with any sort of team. And that is hard because, like you said before to me when we were off the podcast, it is a case of a lot of people in motorsport tend to stay in motorsport, work around motorsport. So it will be hard to get people who aren't affiliated with a team. And I think as long as, they might have previously worked for, I don't know, say McLaren, something like that. That's okay, as long as it's not 5 out of 10 stewards are ex-McLaren employees. Not cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they can't hold shares in any of the teams, or they can't be sponsored by, or things like that. And the excuse we always get from the FIA is, that kind of thing costs money. And you're like, well, yeah, But we also know that you pay Ferrari 50 million a year just to be in the sport. Don't
Yeah.
tell me you haven't got the money.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
Mm.
It's just a get out of jail free card for the FIA to go, that was nothing to do with us. Don't blame me.
Mm.
And if we're at the pinnacle, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
It needs to be consistent race after race after race. And that's part of the problem. It is too inconsistent. And a team of stewards would definitely solve that. But like we say, there would have to be definite, stringent rules around who was allowed to be a steward.
Yeah. I think it's okay to have like past affiliations, just as you say, you don't have a majority of the team, a majority of the steward team that's got affiliations with the same team. If they've all got affiliations with different teams throughout the past, that's fine. But what I would say is all of them don't have to agree that it's a penalty, just a majority.
Yes.
Because that you could have that one who's going to throw a spanner in the works because they were affiliated with. So if you've got a team of 5 stewards and 3 of them say that's a penalty, then it's a penalty. Obviously, if all 5 say it's unilateral, if 2 say yes and 3 say no, it's not a penalty. Carry on racing. That's the kind of approach I'd like to see. And the money side of it, the money argument, I think you're exactly right. I mean, I don't think people who are paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds for seats on the hill at Silverstone want to hear that you haven't got the money to pay for consistent stewarding. And especially as well, we don't even pay for your marshals. They're all voluntary.
Yeah.
At every single race. There's money in the sport. As you say, Ferrari get Ferrari money. I don't even know what it's for anymore. It's legacy money.
Yeah.
It could be put up to better things. I think you're right, definitely. Money's not an excuse for not applying the best you can to the sport. I don't think that's an issue.
I think the other side of that is obviously Ferrari do get that kind of massive wedge of money, and clearly none of it's being spent on the car. It's being spent on goodness knows what. But that's another topic entirely. I just wanted to get that dig in there. I just couldn't resist.
I know.
But I think as well as things like, obviously, we said about the stewards, but then there's other things that have annoyed us in the past, like, say, races that coming up to the end. So we've said about when a safety car is called towards the end of a race. Let's not mention 2021, right?
I'm going to hold back.
But right, but if that race, and what we're proposing or what we would like to see is if it was in, say, the last 10% of the race, if a safety car is called, they red flag the race.
Yeah.
So if you've got 7 laps left of a race or 5 laps left of a race, they would instantly red flag the race, and then you would get the ending you deserve to that race. Now, okay, it could still be a case of somebody was 15 seconds up the road and it ends up being, oh no, there was a safety car, fresh tyres, they lost. But at least it was out and out racing.
Yes.
As opposed to the 2021 arguments me and Ray have had have actually been very little, considering I'm a Max fan and he's a Hamilton fan.
Yeah, actually.
Purely because, actually, I agree completely it was a bad decision, but it wasn't Max's decision, so you can't blame him.
No.
And Ray completely agrees. It was not the way to do that race, and it's the same if any race ends that way. The fact that that one was a title decider made it so much worse.
Yeah.
If that was race 1 of the season, nobody would have cared.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Still would have been, annoying, but it wouldn't have mattered. And I think this will be a great way of doing it through the season.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like you say, we have discussed this. Like the 2021, like I just to put my thing in there, it's like no one sitting in the cars had anything to do with the decisions that were made that day. They just did what they had to do behind the wheel. And, it played out to Max. Well done. Title. Not his fault. And the amount of hate he got for it was, and still is, terrible. But yeah, if they were so indecisive about that, if they'd have just gone, right, red flag it.
Yeah.
Everyone can put new tyres on. And you can go, and that's what we'd like to see, as Mark said. As you said, like if you want to finish under racing conditions, let's give us every opportunity to do it, and let's not mess around with like, oh, this team got to pit, this team didn't, so why didn't he pit when he could have? And you're in the last 7 laps of a 70-lap race. Red flag, everyone gets new rubber. You start on the grid,
Yeah.
and it's exciting again. And yeah, someone might have been 15, 20, 25 seconds down the road, but they could have been that 30 laps in, and there was a safety car, and it's nullified, so it doesn't really matter. Safety cars, red flags, nullify it, get everyone back out on track, and let them go at it for the next 7 laps. I think it's the only right thing to do. I mean, if you want to finish under the flag, under a checkered flag, then don't bring out the safety car.
Yeah, that's
it. Because you bring out the safety car and then go, after 3 laps, we're going to finish under thingy here, let's red flag this. And you've lost 3 laps of racing, so just have a cut-off. Just have a cut-off. At which point, you call them all in.
Yeah. I mean, whilst we're talking about red flags, and this is something I've only just thought of actually while you were talking about it, is one thing I would like to see is if when it's a safety car, like tragically a few years ago when we had that driver go into the back of what was a low loader effectively, or a cherry picker.
Yeah.
And then was it this year or was it last year, another cherry picker piece of equipment was on the track and somebody only just spotted it through the rain?
It was,
I think that was last year.
A couple of seasons ago, it was Pierre Gasly.
Yes.
Basically, it kind of appeared out of the mist in front of him.
Yeah. I think when we're talking about red flags and things, I think if any piece of heavy equipment like that has to go onto the track and it's in those sorts of conditions, it should be an instant red flag.
Oh, yeah.
Before that piece of equipment ever goes anywhere near the track, what happened was such a tragedy there. I don't see how they could ever say, well, it's safe for cars to be on the track whilst we've got this equipment on.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah. Because that was, I remember it was like kind of looking at it and going, what the has just happened there? Because how he didn't hit it, I don't know. No. But yeah, the moment you've got to introduce any other machinery, just get them off the track before you even have to do that. Red flag it. Make sure all the cars are in the paddock. Then do what you've got to do. It's.
I know that was a little off topic there.
No, I'm totally with you there. But
I think that
I'm totally with you on that. I'm glad you brought it up actually, because what happened to Jules Bianchi was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's it. And we don't want to see that. We want to see. We want to see the driver's safety at all time. We said this in the last episode. We want to see the driver's safety at all time paramount, but whilst also keeping the racing exciting and everything. But speaking of red flags, so whilst we're on red flags, one that I know you've raised a lot of times when we were chatting as well, and I completely agree, is qualifying.
Oh, yeah, qualifying red flags, man.
How many times have we seen somebody on an absolute flyer of a hot lap, and then it's been red flagged, and the accident's behind them. But they've got to stop their lap, and that's it. And if it's in the last 2 minutes of a qualifying session, oh well.
Well, I mean, you've only got to look back to I know when Max went mad about it, and that was Brazil 24. And okay, Stroll had crashed. Surprise, surprise. But he had done it past the start-finish line, past turn 1. So if you're already on a hot lap and you just need to get to the finish line, that is not in your way. There is no risk to safety. Why was it red flagged so that he couldn't complete a lap? Now, I'm not just saying that as a Max fan. It's just the first one that comes to mind in recent sort of memory, if I like.
Yeah.
But it is that thing of surely if you have to red flag the session and the cars could not complete their times, why can't they do it so that that one driver, or say if there was 2 or 3 drivers caught out, whatever it was, they are allowed to go out for one flying lap? Just they warm up, do one flying lap. If it's crap, it's their own fault. If it's a great lap, they get the time. Because there are some drivers, obviously, we all know it's risky. They leave it until the last minute before sending the car out onto track. And I get it. The tracks get better and faster as qualifying goes on. But if it's all of a sudden red flagged, well, what you do then? Starting in 10th? Well, Nobody wants that, do they? And I know part of it's down to teams taking risks, strategy calls. So in some ways, I don't know. Thinking about it, actually, in some ways, is it kind of like, do the teams now all just risk leaving it to the last 3 minutes of track time? And then if there's a red flag, it doesn't matter because they'll get to go again anyway.
Oh, I think I get what you're saying there, but I think
do we just end up with a pile up?
I mean, if you do, you do, don't you? That's
yeah.
part of the risk of it. But I honestly think if you are out on track, if you're on a slow down lap, like say you've just done a flyer and you're on a slow down lap, the red flag comes out, you're not entitled to go out for another flyer.
Yeah.
If you're on your out lap or on your flyer at the time that the red flag comes in, and you would have passed, if you're on the out lap and you would have passed the start line for your lap before the timer hits 0, you should be allowed to go out. If you're on a flyer, you should be allowed to go out. If you're on an in lap, you're not allowed to go back out. If you went on the track, you're not allowed to go back out. But it should be, right, we're restarting the session now, right? The clock's starting. Say it's a 1 minute 32 lap normally, just hypothetically. We're starting a 2-minute countdown right now.
Yeah.
You've got 2 minutes to get out on track, get round, start your flyer. Means they can have a relatively, they all queue up anyway to get out when the time's like tight. They might jostle to who's going to be first in the queue to get out, so they've got a clear lap or hold back as much as they can, but they've still got 2 minutes to get around. You can even make it 2.5 minutes, if you're really that worried about it. But not enough time to get round twice, essentially. So you've got one warm-up lap and you've got to go. And whatever time you end up with there, that's it. But you can't just go, oh, I was on track. So no, if you were on a cooldown, you weren't gonna go again. You've done a fast lap. You're on cooldown.
Yeah.
You're done. You put your time in. I think that would probably be a fairer way of doing it than going, oh well, there were 2 minutes left on the session, or there was 1.5 minutes left on the session. Unfortunately, it's over.
Yeah.
And people in the stands as well will get their money's worth because they'll see.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember when they changed the format a while back? So like I can't even remember what it was, like this shootout format for a while.
Yeah.
And the last 6 minutes of every qualifying, there was nobody on the track.
Yeah.
And you're like, so they kind of went, let's get rid of that so we'll have people on the track. And now you're like, oh, red flag, no one's on the track. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to get the time in if they were on track, prepping or on a flyer. I think. I think that would be the fair way of doing it. Because we want to see the cars on track. We don't want to see people starting in 12th because there was a red flag.
No.
No. We don't want to see genuinely good flying laps deleted because they were 100 meters from the finish line and somebody had a spin off on sector 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There is another way of looking at it with that is if the accident's behind you on the lap, should you be allowed to finish the lap? As long as you're made aware that there is an accident in whatever sector, and the moment you cross the finish line, you've got to basically slow it down.
Completely agree.
But yeah,
completely agree.
I mean, anyone who's listening, if you got any thoughts on how you want to kind of change the qualifying or the red flag approach to qualifying or red flags in general and safety cars in general, I think definitely be up for hearing your thoughts.
Oh yes. One thing I did think when you were speaking then is obviously I think it is the little inconsistencies that annoy us more than anything. And so it was like, there was a race this year. I wish I could remember which track it was, but it's completely evading my brain. And so they had a standing start for the beginning of the race. It was raining. Everyone was on inters. And then for some reason, there was a safety car or a red flag. I'm sure it was a red flag. Yeah, it was. There was a red flag. And then they went, we're going to have a rolling start because it's unsafe to have everyone do a standing start. But at the same time, they had enabled DRS. And I'm thinking, well, I'm sorry, but if it's safe enough for DRS, surely the 20 best drivers in the world can do a standing start just for giggles. Although those red flags, probably only 19 of them. But surely the best drivers in the world can do a standing start if you're going to trust them using DRS in the wet. Surely they can start in the wet.
Yeah, I didn't quite get it. I'm trying to Google the race because I can't remember. I know which one you're talking about, but I can't quite remember
it. Because it just makes no sense. One thing laughs at the other. If you think it's too dangerous to start from standing still, you shouldn't have DRS enabled on that track. There's no way.
It was Spa of all tracks.
Right. Well, there you go then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna enable DRS after Eau Rouge along that massive straight into a gravel trap. But you can't start the car from standstill.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's stupid. It's so ludicrous. So ludicrous.
Yeah.
But having said that, you just did mention the one thing that we both would love to see more of, and that's gravel traps. Because one thing that annoys us more than anything is track limits.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, shouldn't go off track to gain an advantage or whatever. Sometimes, all right, you'd understand, you go off track, fine. But other times you purposefully go wide just to gain a bit of an advantage. Whereas you look at tracks like Qatar, it's not a full gravel trap, but it's just like a gravel trench, but it's just enough so that if you dip two wheels over that apex, you're touching gravel, your car's losing a bit of grip, and you've more than likely damaged a little bit of bodywork, just enough to cheese it off. And I think that is the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Gravel traps for the win.
I think like part of the problem with the way the track limits are now is you go into a race and say the race has got 15 corners. Like, oh, by the way, we're monitoring track limits at corners 7, 9, and 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they go, okay, well, at turn 8, I can borrow.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to monitor it every corner.
Yeah.
There's cameras on every corner. There's cameras on every car. You know, if you're going to monitor it everywhere. But if you don't want to go through all the work of monitoring it, as you said, gravel traps.
Yeah.
A gravel trap that is exactly one car width outside the white line.
Yeah.
So if your tyre goes outside the white line, your outer tyre is in a gravel trap.
Yeah.
You want to take a chance with it? Take a chance with it.
Yeah.
The likelihood is you're going to ruin your lap time. You're going to possibly ruin your bodywork. And we don't need to hear, oh, he went wide at turn 8. Report him. You know, what was it? Lewis Hamilton last season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like just reporting in every time somebody went wide at one of the races just because he'd been called on a couple of track limits. And you're like...
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't need to confirm, but...
No. It's just... I think, that is the thing, isn't it? It makes it so obvious it's unbelievable, but it also stops it in the fact that you see some of the cars, especially at likes of Qatar, you dip a wheel into that gravel. I'd tell you what, you're lucky to save it and not spin round.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what caused one of the big crashes this year at Qatar.
Yeah.
And you think, you will do anything to stay out of that gravel. So if you make that your track limit, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to risk spinning out, ruin your race? Or are you just going to keep it on track?
Yeah. I mean, how many qualifying laps in Qatar did we see where they're absolutely pushing it?
Oh, yeah.
And then they lost a little bit of time on that last corner because they just dipped half a tyre and got all squirrely. And then you come to places like Imola, and we touched on this with the Max overtake when we were doing the 2025 review. You get it wrong at Imola, you know it, because you're either in the grass or in the gravel. There's very few runoff areas at Imola where you're not going to get into some kind of trouble. It's a track on F125 I love driving. But if I get it wrong, I get it really wrong. But if drivers want to take chances there, it's a big risk, but the reward's massive. Look at the max overtake, into the first chicane. And like we said it the other week, if he'd got it wrong, we'd have seen gravel, either probably spun, either probably picked up some damage. And
well, if he'd have got that overtake wrong on Piastri, it would have been Max and Piastri out that race.
Mm-hmm.
They were absolutely wheel to wheel, and that is the kind of racing we want to see.
Yeah,
that is exactly what you want to see. And that's also part of one of the other problems we've seen is, oh man, penalties. Some of the penalties are ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. If you're driving along and you decide, I'm just going to turn into you because you're in my way and you hit someone, yeah, man, give them a penalty. I'm all up for that. No problem. But when we see silly ones where two of them are going around a corner, both of them are nailing it, and you get a little snap of oversteer and bump wheels. Oh, 5-second penalty for you. You're like, oh no, come on.
Yeah.
Because any racing those two drivers were going to do through the rest of that race, you have now nullified because that other driver has now got a 5-second penalty. Okay, we don't want them to hit wheels. Fine, no problem. But they were in full control of their car. Little snaps of oversteer. I'm sorry. But these are 1,000 horsepower cars that weigh 760 kilos to 800 kilos. Are you telling me it's like, oh yeah, he did that on purpose just to get the corner? No, he didn't. No, he did not. It's so pathetic when you see things like that.
I think one of the examples there, we mentioned this the other week, Zandvoort, Sainz, going around the outside of Lawson. Lawson had the understeer, but Sainz got the penalty.
Yes.
Okay, it got rescinded later on, but it doesn't matter. They got rescinded 2 or 3 days after the race. It basically ruined Sainz's race, and all he did was put his car in a very good position around the outside.
Yeah.
But because he wasn't wheel to wheel, front wheel to front wheel around the outside, I've got the guidelines up right here, right? And we chatted about this before. Overtaking on the inside and outside, it shouldn't be on the inside and outside. It should just be overtaking.
Yeah.
Right. But around the outside, effectively, you've got to be front wheel to front wheel at the apex. So you've got to have the overtake pretty much done. Right.
Yeah.
On the inside, you've got to be alongside the mirror. So you've got to have the overtake, pretty much done.
Yeah.
There's no room for fighting this through the corner. It's around the outside, you've got to be all the way around the outside.
Yeah.
In the inside, you've pretty much got to be right up the inside. Or any contact, and you're the one at fault.
Yeah.
And that's no way to encourage racing.
No,
you're basically saying to them, listen, and I think DRS has got a lot to answer for with this, because the DRS thing's like, oh, well, you've got DRS, it should be there on a lot of places. You should have it done by then anyway, which took all the racing out. Takes all the racing out of it. You open the wing and you're away. Whereas what I'd like to see is, was your front tyre or your front wing alongside their rear tyre going into the braking zone? And were you in control of your car?
Yeah.
Right. So, and by in control of your car, I mean, did you lock up? If you locked up, you're not in control because you can't slow down and you can't steer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, were you a bit later on the brakes, but you stayed in control, but part of your car was along the back of there? You could push it and say front wheel to back wheel, right?
Yeah.
Were you at that point going into designated braking zone, right? If you were, you've bought space.
Yeah.
And you should be allowed to race that space. If you're on the outside, you should be afforded room on the outside on the exit. If you're on the inside, you should be afforded room on the inside of the apex.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not locked up, that's fine. In my opinion.
I think part of it is, Is it all we want to see? Is the F1 drivers? It's like, oh look, we've just had, I don't know, for instance, Sainz overtake Leclerc on a straight. Wow, round of applause! You overtook somebody in a straight line. Congratulations. Or do we want to see what we saw a couple of years ago at Silverstone when it must have been 2022 because it was the zero pod Mercedes and it was Perez, Leclerc, and Hamilton. And well, yeah. And they were all racing around, and it's that soundbite that Sky use every time it's going on to the F1. They go, through goes Hamilton, and you're like, yeah, but play 10 seconds later and he got overtook. But
I was about to say that.
that racing, no, seriously, that
No,
racing,
no.
that like half a lap, going through those S's and everything, that was some of the best racing in years because it was one car overtaking another car, and then another one gets in the battle. And more than anything, it's like Leclerc got pushed off track on one corner, then Perez on another corner, then Hamilton, and then. But you know what? I'm sure if they looked at that with last year's rules, there would have been at least 3 5-second penalties. There would have been several investigations. And you just think, no, seriously, we want to see that kind of racing, race in, race out. And I understand the cars were a lot more undefined then. It was the first year of the new regulations. So everyone was sort of driving around in a van effectively. So the cars were a lot closer. But man, that was a cracking bit of racing. And I'm not interested whose wheel, where, why, and when. I don't care. If you're both in control of your cars and you're going around a corner, side by side or slightly behind or slightly in front or whatever, just let them race. I don't care about this, getting up on a sky pad at the end and drawing lines across corners. I'm not a 5-year-old. I can see a line imaginary in my head. Stop drawing lines on a TV. I'm sick of looking at arrows and wing mirrors to wheels. I'm so sick of it, man. It's like when you're watching the weather and they point at the cloud. I know what a cloud looks like. Don't tell me what a cloud looks like.
It's
Do you know what I
raining
mean?
sideways.
Yeah, but it's so stupid and it's so frustrating. I'm sorry, it really gets me
No,
goat.
I'm with you. I mean, just while you were talking, then I just started thinking like we laud the likes of Senna, Schumacher, Prost, Mika Hakkinen,
Yeah. Yeah.
Damon Hill, Nigel Mansell. We laud these racers, these drivers. Could you imagine if they tried to race in this era of rules?
No, they wouldn't be allowed. No.
They'd all be on 12 points after three races.
Yeah.
If we're lucky. And people look at that era of F1 and go, look at the battles, look at the races, like wheel to wheel. Yeah, they were taking chunks out of each other, but wasn't it incredible? I know there's rose tinted glasses to everything, right? But if you want exciting racing, if you want wheel to wheel action, you've got to kind of say, we're not going to punish you for the slightest of interactions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, be safe, respect each other's safety.
Yeah.
But
if
you see a gap,
go for it.
Go for it.
That's the thing. When we look back at other eras of F1, yes, they were absolutely incredible drivers, and some of the maneuvers they pulled off, amazing. But like you say, maybe a little bit of rose tinted glasses, because when you look at the full races and things, it is very much get out my way. I'm just going to push you off track and bash into your wheels. Some of it, not all of it. I'm not taking anything away from them drivers at all. They were incredible. And the fact that, people like Senna were driving 1,000 horsepower cars one-handed through Monaco while shifting a manual gearbox. I'm sorry, but that is epic by any stretch of the imagination. But it was out and out racing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. And I don't want to see it. I don't want it to become, oh, well, Piastri can just bash Hamilton off the track and get away with it. Not cool. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
That is not what I'm asking for. And I know it's not what you're asking for either. And I'm sure, to be honest, people don't want to see that. That is not what F1's about. But the last thing I need to hear is, even in worst one is always turn one. A lot of the time, it's put down to a racing incident with it being turn one. But sometimes you have two cars, both are in complete control. They go into turn one, have a little bit of a tap on the wheels because let's face it, it's 20 cars going 0 to 120 up to the first bend. And sometimes you do get a little bit of wheel to wheel.
Mm.
I'm sorry, it's just what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen cars leaving Asda do that, but they're only doing 15 mile an hour. But there's no investigation needed. It's just like, oh, little beep at each other. Maybe they should just fit horns. Maybe that's what it should do.
Possibly, yeah.
Now they've fitted indicators.
Horns or that proximity chat we were talking about.
Oh man, I'd love to hear that. I only want to have proximity chat installed if we can hear it.
Yes.
Otherwise, I think the entertainment value is just not there. I'm sorry. But yeah, like I said, I don't want it to be ridiculous, but they need to give up on the little tiny incidents becoming 5-10 second penalties or whatever. It's just it's not right.
It's too much. I know the kind of wanted to err towards the safety of drivers and take a lot of the risk out of the sport, and no dive bombing and all that, and completely understand, but you've gone too far.
Yes.
Strip the rules back a little bit, make it a bit more simplified. Just if you've bought space, you're entitled to the space. If you're the defending car, yes, you can't move in the braking zone because once you're in the braking zone, it's a lot more difficult for the responding car to.
Of course.
Completely get that, right? But I just allow them to commit to overtakes a lot, especially with these new cars now. Less drag, less downforce. All this boost and overtake. I mean, what's the point of an overtake button if you've got to double guess yourself about whether or not you're going to have enough car alongside? Right?
Yeah, of course.
They're all 21 of the 22 drivers are going to be elite level drivers. I'm not mentioning any names, right? They should be aware.
No
they should be aware that a car is coming behind them. They've got enough information on the radio. They should be very aware that they're under attack. They should be very aware of where they can put their car, and the guy attacking should be very aware of where they can put their car. And if the guy attacking makes a mistake, locks up, hits the guy in front, slap him with a penalty. If the guy in front sees him there and just turns in on him, give him a penalty. But apart from that, let them race. Just let them go at each other for however many laps it is. And at the end of the day, because what we've seen so many times, like, oh, that was a fantastic move, and then like, oh, he's got 5 seconds for that, or you've got to give that position back.
Yeah.
And what I'd love, talking about the position back, what I'd love to see is the stewards are like, right, we're investigating that.
Yeah.
Right. And it should be like if you want to encourage the racing, instead of dishing out a penalty, stewards to the team, give that position back within the next 2 laps.
Yeah.
And then if he does, brilliant. If he doesn't, well, it's going to be a harsher penalty. Right.
Yeah.
Not it's not going to be 5 seconds. It's going to be 10 seconds. We've given you the chance. We've told you that you did push it too far. We're not going to give you a time penalty. You got to give it back, and you can still attack him.
Yeah.
And instead of like, here's 5 seconds. Oh well, there's no point in me letting him back and attacking now because I'm now 4 places behind. Actually.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah.
So instead of dishing out the penalties all the time, give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
Relay to them. That was too far. Say, you've got an option.
But I suppose that also relates back to what we were saying before, and the fact of having a dedicated team of stewards.
Mm-hmm.
In the fact that I think that also would help, because if you've got a team of stewards that are employed by whatever it is, the FIA or whatever, and they are together for 24 races per season, they will already be great at communicating with each other. They'll have built a team. They know the rules inside out. So when something happens, it should be a very quick decision of that's under investigation, give the place back, or 5 second penalty, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got stewards that have only just met that weekend to work on that track, are they arguing back and forth? Or have they maybe got a slight language barrier? I have no idea. I'm only
Mm.
guesstimating. But you sort of think, are they sitting there going, oh, should we just look up that rule? Because I'm not quite sure. Or are they getting the fella to draw arrows on the board? I have no idea. But I think if they all work together as a team and we had that set of stewards, that would aid the quick investigations and things like that.
Mm.
Because we've already said in the past, investigations that have to be done after the race
I
when there's
was
still 30
literally,
laps to go.
I was literally about to
Absolutely
say
ludicrous.
I could annoy you with one sentence. The
Yeah, I
incident
know.
will be
I know.
investigated after the race. You're like,
Yeah,
so we don't even know
Yeah.
if the finishing result is the finishing result. Like, I can understand the last
exactly.
couple of laps, but yeah, 30 laps in, and you're like,
Yeah, but it's the same as, especially when it says, it'll be investigated after the race. Well, what do you say to the driver who is behind the person who's being investigated? Do you say they're being investigated after the race, keep within 5 seconds just in case?
mm,
Or do they feel hard done by and just sort of give up and go, well, I'm going to finish fourth anyway? So the fellow who's in third, who will end up with a penalty, ends up staying in third.
yeah.
It's
Is
one of those things, isn't it, where it can make a massive impact on the race.
is it one of those tracks where it's hard to overtake and you've lost 15 seconds overall behind the guy who should have been
Yeah,
investigated
exactly.
40 laps ago? When you could have been allowed past him and just off to the races and been able to chase down that next guy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But again, like you say, it comes down to consistent stewarding as well.
Mm.
Go on, you were going to say.
Talking about tracks where you could lose 15 seconds because it's hard to overtake, let's go to the worst track of the year, Monaco. Right.
Yeah.
So
the jewel in the crown.
The jewel in the very rusty crown that somebody has dropped at the bottom of a lake and forgotten about. So obviously this year at Monaco, mandatory 2 pit stop. Because apparently it was going to make it more exciting. Clearly nobody read that memo.
No, I think that got lost in translation.
Yeah, whilst they had 2 pit stops, well, it was still pretty boring. So I'm guessing nobody got the memo about excitement. I'm assuming somebody left the fireworks at home, I would have thought.
I think the issue there is when you're basically saying, by the way, the most exciting part of this race is going to be whether or not the pit stops, like the pit crew, screw up.
Yeah. And the problem with this is that we ended up with, it was Williams slowing everybody down behind them to a point where it would get their teammate a free pit stop. And I mean, that's really another thing, actually. I don't think that should be allowed, because we've seen it so many times where you're getting a driver being told over the radio, slow everyone down so we can get your teammates a good pit stop. I think that should be a penalty, to be fair, because it's manipulating every other Muppets race for the sake of your teammate. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't think there should be instructions like that. But we know they'd find other ways of saying it. Like, it'd be like plan beta 1 or something stupid like that. And he'd be like, oh, okay, I've got to slow these down. Like, but
yeah,
just coming back to the Monaco thing, like, rules to encourage racing. Just not a rule to encourage racing, a move to encourage racing. Replace the track. Just race somewhere else, because it's not a race, it is a procession. And the only time you get an upset in the results is if somebody's car breaks or somebody hits a wall.
Yeah,
and
completely.
It's not, and I don't even think with these smaller, more nimble cars that will have any different outcome. Because I still think the cars are too big for Monaco. You look at the cars of the 70s and the 80s, they were like go-karts with a massive engine attached to them. They were tiny.
Yeah.
You could get fantastic racing through here, but now you just got to put your car in the middle of the track and no one can get past you. Look what happened with Perez and, was it the 2 Hasses?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Perez is just in the middle and the track just squeezes, and that's 3 cars out the race.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything they could possibly do to that track to make it more interesting? I don't know.
Landmines?
I honestly don't know.
Like sprinkler system? I just...
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't think there is any way of actually that track, with it being such a narrow city, if you like.
Mm,
There isn't really anywhere they can go, and I just think if you can't make it an interesting race, don't try and artificially give us, oh, we're going to do 2 pit stops. Or what are you going to do next year to make it more exciting? 3?
mm.
What?
I just
What
think
happens?
I think the sport and the cars have just outgrown it, and
Yeah, I think they have.
I get that it's got a lot of prestige. I get that. I
Yeah,
get that the drivers think it's got a lot of prestige, but let's be honest, it's a spectator sport.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you want people to pay the money to watch the race, if you want
yeah,
people at home to enjoy the race, if I if you said to me, I want you to pick one race that will put somebody off watching Formula One for the rest of their life,
yeah,
I would pick Monaco.
completely. Yeah, completely.
Um,
Yeah,
because they're just sitting there the whole time, and I wouldn't blame them for checking their phone or just having a
no,
nap. It's the 2 pit stop rule. No, that wasn't it.
yeah, no,
It's in my mind, it's them recognizing that Monaco is not good,
yeah,
but they're
completely.
trying their best to save it.
Yes,
Um, I just I
yeah,
don't think it's salvageable right now.
no. In the season, why not do the car unveilings there, or the award ceremony there, or something?
Mm,
But the race is not the one,
no,
because regardless of what they try and do to it, I don't think there is any improving it. Whoever starts in first, as long as they're first to turn one, nah, they've won.
yeah,
That's top and bottom of it.
mm,
Where I mean, I can say this with a very hopeful mind. Maybe with the new variations of car this year, maybe that'll change. But I'm not going to hold my breath.
no. I think the only thing that will change, we might see more contact with barriers. We might see a
Yeah,
couple more cars leaving the race through damage or whatever. But
yeah,
I still think it's just going to be a procession. Um,
yeah.
but whilst we're on the subject of just making rules up to
Go on,
make things a bit more exciting,
go on. Let's have it.
um, you can only use your tires for 25 laps.
Yeah, didn't understand that one. Yeah, that was Qatar, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
company that has been contracted and paid very well to develop tires for the sport
yeah,
can't develop a hard tire or a tire that can go beyond 25 laps
yeah,
for a track. I think it was just how do we mix things a little bit
yeah.
more than a safety thing, because we'd seen the same tires do 45 laps in the races
Yes,
previous.
yes.
And yeah, I know it's an abrasive surface. It's a very hot track, but not one of here's how you know it was rubbish.
Yeah,
When the safety car come out and everyone was like, if we pit now, we can just do 25 laps, 25 laps.
yeah,
Everyone apart from McLaren, for their own
yes,
reasoning, which we'll get to,
yeah,
went, oh, let's pit. And then every one of them did 25 laps and then another 25 laps. And at no point did their tyres look like they were in any danger whatsoever.
no, no, not at all.
In fact,
No,
Max was absolutely pelting it for 25 laps.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Bringing in these weird, arbitrary rules for one race after another just isn't it.
yeah. I think I didn't understand it because more than anything, they said, well, it's about tire concerns. And you think, ooh, well, you haven't mentioned that all season. It's weird that it's suddenly coming up now. And you think, well, if you want to change it up a little bit, why not go, okay, well, you can only do 25 laps maximum on mediums,
Mm.
but and say 15 laps on the softs because they degrade too quickly. We're worried about them
Mm.
bursting. or blowouts or whatever. Come out with an exact reason. Or you could say, for this race only, we are going to allow only one compound to be used because of tire concerns. So you can use 2 sets of hards.
Yeah.
But if you use softs, they're limited to 15 laps, mediums, whatever. If it was a genuine concern over safety, I get it. I don't want to see anybody injured or hurt because of a tyre blowing out because they thought, we'll just risk it and see how we get on. I don't want to see that. But it wasn't explained very well. They just went, we have tyre concerns.
Yeah.
Or what were they?
Yeah. So I can do 25 laps on my softs if I want. But I can only do 25 laps on my hards if I want.
Yeah.
There was no kind of sense to it in my own mind. It felt like a Monaco. It felt like a Monaco. But, and I mentioned this before we started the as well, what I'd like to see a return to in terms of encouraging racing and different strategies and stuff like that is go back to 2 different tyre suppliers.
Yeah.
Because now everybody's got the same data.
Yes.
Everybody has the same data. If the Williams can do 30 laps on the mediums, you know the Haas can do 30 laps on the mediums. You know the McLaren can do 30 laps on the mediums. Yes, give or take a couple of laps because of different wear, but you kind of got the data. You kind of know what's going to happen. Whereas, if one team's contracted to Pirelli and one team's contracted to Goodyear or Bridgestone or whoever it is, you could look at it and go, well, our Pirellis are going 35 laps deep here, but they seem to still have pace after 35 laps on the Bridgestones.
Yeah.
How are we going to mix this up? How are we going to attack their strategy when we know they can go longer? And I think, and when it was like back in the day when they had each tyre reacted differently at every track. So one would be more dominant at one and the other would be a lot more consistent and less graining and things like that. And you're kind of looking at it going, actually, the tyres are going to make a big difference here. Whereas now the tyres are kind of negated. Unless somebody's on 40 lap holds and someone's on brand new, fresh tyres. All the teams having all the data. And say, when we've seen it, how many times have we seen it? Somebody's had an accident early on, so their race is written off. So they go onto the hards to try them out, to get the data, to get the pace for their teammate. They're not just gathering that for their teammate. Every team's watching them and going, they've got pace. They've got pace. And they're like, and okay, change of strategy, we're going on to it. But if you're on a different manufacturer of tyre, you can't rely on that data.
No.
At all. So you've got to make your own decisions.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen it where, Max is driving along and then all of a sudden they'll go, on the next tyre, do you want it to be hards? Norris seems pretty quick on them.
Yeah.
You think, that's a different car entirely. But I get what you're saying completely. Having 2 separate tyre manufacturers. But I don't know. Yeah, two separate tyre manufacturers definitely, I think, would make it more interesting. But maybe not contracted to. So I think if I was Red Bull and I'd contracted to Goodyear, Bridgestone, whoever, and a couple of races in, I thought, these tyres are rubbish. I wouldn't want to be locked into that for the whole season because that would suck beyond all belief. If you've built an incredible car, but the tyres are letting you down, that would suck beyond all belief. So I think, I don't know how you'd work it. Really,
I think it'd be part of pre-season testing.
Yeah, maybe. But again, it's only at one track. I'm not going to say it for all of them. And I think whether or not you could, as you're going to a weekend, both tyre manufacturers come on and go, which ones would you like this weekend? And you can go, well, we'll give these a try this weekend. They might have the edge. And then you could just purchase those tyres for that weekend.
Pre-practice one is where you make your choice.
Yeah, effectively, but then you're locked in for the whole weekend.
But the only issue I have with that then is everybody would go, right, we're using Pirellis this week.
Not necessarily.
I think you'd end up most races with most of them using the same tyre. I think if you're going to say you could change them week to week, you get the data from the manufacturers pre-season, and then you lock in your tyre choice for the season per race. So like you go, For Silverstone, we
see
want
what you're saying,
Bridgestone.
actually, yeah.
And at the start of the season, you know what tyres you're going to be on for the rest of the season. So at
Right.
Silverstone, you could be on Bridgestone, but at Qatar, you could be on Pirelli. You know,
Right, I get
if you get me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
personally, I'd like to see them just contracted and deal with the consequences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The drivers have got to deal with whatever.
Yeah.
The drivers have got to deal with whatever car's given to them. They're paid well to do
Yeah.
it, and make it work. You know what I mean? And that's why you have a strategy team to go, well, these tyres aren't doing so well, so we've got to put a good strategy in place for this week. But then next week, your tyres might come alive.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference in it. Is like week to week.
Yeah, I get that. To be fair.
But,
I think that's the thing. If it was in free practice at the beginning of the season and you got to try out both tire manufacturers on your car and you went, one is a lot considerably better than the other, and then you get to lock in your choice. Yeah, all right, fair enough, yeah. Rather than just data sheets before even pre-season testing.
Yeah.
I think you've got to at least be able to do.
Oh yeah, go pre-season testing. Let them test both tire compounds. Yes, it's at the one track, but you'll get enough data to know.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, this track kind of performs like these other tracks throughout the season.
Yeah.
Which tire is going to be better for them, and make your choice. You're committed for the season. And go from there. I know. Like there'll be people listening, going, "Oh, what about the net zero and the cost and making everything more eco-friendly?" Which is one of the moves to move into one tire manufacturer. But there's that much that goes on with an F1 weekend that the net zero thing. It's just a load of commercial marketing, really.
Oh man, net zero! Don't we love it? I just think, it's hard because I understand why they want to be, sustainable and net zero and all that, and that's absolutely fantastic. But in the same sense, you're also taking me round with the camera in the Sky Paddock, looking at these gigantic motorhomes full of loads of people I don't care about, all drinking champagne that you've flown in from goodness knows where. And I just think, well, not just that. All the drivers turn up on their private jets if they've got them. Why not make them all fly EasyJet on one plane? I'm sorry, but it'd be a lot cheaper and it'd be more beneficial. You know what I mean? I just think, come on. They're getting all the drivers to drive to the tracks in the latest McLarens, Ferraris, Mercedes. Just give them a Fiat 500 and be done with it. Do you know what I mean? Just put them all on a shuttle bus. There's so many other ways, and not just that, but why you're bringing in sprint races if you want net zero. It's just, there's so many things laughing at net zero in Formula One. The same as me and you said, why on earth are we doing a race in, like, say, France, for instance, and then we're going to go to Canada? What? Why isn't it like an American leg, a European leg, whatever? We've always said that.
Yeah. You got to sort out the logistics if you're going to make yourself a bit more environmentally friendly instead of bouncing around the world. Just you got
that.
You got 6 races in America and South America. That's a leg. Then you're off back to Europe. That's a leg. Then you're off to the Oceanics. Japan, China, Australia. That's another leg.
Yeah.
And if the drivers want to go back and forth, fine. But the teams are then you kind of in one place. You're not spending out fortune on planes and transport and trucking things back and forth to the docks. It's but as well, like, you're going through so many extra tires on a sprint, like just to have a sprint race.
Yeah, of course you don't.
And
no,
you're not really, because the same kind of tire allocation, isn't it? But you're going through now more sustainable fuel, 100% sustainable fuel from this season. But if you did introduce sprints this season, great, whatever. But I mean, I said to you before this, I personally had been the sprint races anyway. But
but you see, I do like the sprint races. I do. I didn't think I would. I thought it was pointless. I thought sprint races, what a waste of my time. Why am I watching this? And I found them quite entertaining. I can't lie. But I think that's because it is an all out warfare of 19 laps, one set of tyres. We're not worried about strategy or anything like that. It is purely, absolutely foot down,
Mm.
19 laps. And I do enjoy that. But is it necessary? No, not really, if
Yeah.
I'm honest. It's the same as the qualifying that annoys us with the sprint weekend. Why have I now got to watch qualifying on a Friday night, sprint on the Saturday morning, then main qualifying Saturday night, and then race on the Sunday? Why can't it just be wherever you finish the sprint is your starting position
Yeah.
for the main race? If you're going to do it like that and you want to be net zero, as they call it, well, get rid of one of the sets of qualifying then.
Yeah, I think I'm totally with you. If you're gonna make you're gonna make a sprint race, make it stand for something.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
for me, at the moment, 12 out of 20 people not scoring any points for the sprint race is what's the point in the the team. Some of the teams already know they're not getting any points that weekend, that race.
Yeah.
But they've got to put their driver out and hope for a pile up. Right.
Yeah.
Make it mean something for them. Right, wherever you finish is where you're starting.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. And kind of make it mean something more substantial than just a run around for them.
Yeah.
Because I think that's my gripe with sprint racing. Like, only 8 people score points.
Yeah.
And
no, I get that.
9 times out of 10, it's the same 8 people.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it's hard to get for me. It's I get there can be some really good fun, really good excitement, but again, sometimes it's ruined by the rules and But if the main race, if they were allowed to go toe to toe in the main race and be battling for 70 odd laps in the main race, would the sprint be as exciting in that sense? If you get me, because
no. You see, one thing that's just popped into my head while we were talking about this, and it is a ridiculous idea. They will never do it, and I'm not even suggesting that they do. But why not? If you want a sprint weekend, why not do away with qualifying entirely? So bear with me, right?
Okay, no, I'm listening.
Now, hold on. So I
peak.
know that people have said stupid suggestions in the past of, say, reverse grids, right? Now, you would never do that because you would just qualify slowest so that you start on P1. So nobody's ever going to do a reverse grid. It's daft, right? However, if you did it, so, no, bear with me.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
If you did it so that, say, where you stand in the Drivers' Championship is where you start for the sprint race, but in reverse order. So effectively, Stroll would be first, right? Now, if you did that, but then said wherever you finish the sprint will be where you start, well, I'll tell you what, that'd be a hell of a sprint race because every person at the back, like the leader of the championship, would want to go hell for leather to get back to the first. That's the only way you're going to make a sprint fully entertaining and be net zero about it, because you're getting rid of both quality sessions, saving a lot of fuel and a lot of tires, and you're just going, right, you've had 2 practice sessions, now you're going to be in reverse championship order, go get them. I'm not suggesting it, by the way, but if you want to make it entertaining, that is the way to do it.
That would be entertaining because, like, from the get go, you'd have defendant attacking, people trying to force their way through. I mean, listening to it, it actually doesn't sound like a bad idea. It to me, it doesn't sound like a bad idea. I'm sure there's people listening who are like, nutter.
Yeah, I mean, even as I'm saying it, it is a ridiculous idea, and that's why I'm saying I'm not suggesting it, because reverse grids are a ridiculous proposal. It'll never happen, and why should you ever do that in that sport? It is ridiculous. But I just think if you're trying to make it, I understand it to a degree, because they're not doing it for us watching it on TV. They're doing it for the people who are there in the stands. They're trying to make it so that if you've paid 500 quid to go and watch the F1 and you want to be entertained the whole time, and I completely understand that. But I think the problem is it's the point system, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what's
Yes.
ruining it for the F1 for the sprint race. But having said that, we've also been talking about the point system for the main race because we think that needs overhauling as well.
No,
Really,
the point system for the main race is ruining the whole season. For me,
well, it is.
I think as much as we want to make the races more exciting, actually, if you sort out the point system, the whole season in itself will be a lot more exciting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I mean, so we've been talking about this, and I think part of the problem is obviously if you're finishing in first, you're getting a much larger gap. So what? It's 25 points for first.
Yes.
It's
18?
second is 18
per
points.
second.
So I mean, there's a 7-point swing right there straight away just for first position. And don't get me wrong, they've done a good job. Brilliant, given points. But anyone from below 10th gets absolutely nothing. And this year, don't forget, we're going to have 22 cars on the grid.
Yeah.
So you've just got to look at it and think, well, what if you've got one driver, say a rookie or whoever, who's been pushing their car to the absolute limit but has scored 11th all season? Well, they will have 0 points for the whole season, but they perform better than everyone below them. And you think, well, that's not really fair, is it? So, I mean, we've been talking about it. So you keep your 25 points for first, but then what about 22 points for second, 20 points for third, and then 18 down from each other one?
That's the way I do it. Totally.
Yeah, so effectively, you would have what? 18 points for fourth, 17 for fifth, so on and so forth. You would end up with car 21 getting 1 point, and the very last person on the track, car 22 from this year, with 0 points. So effectively, you only get no points if you start dead last, or you finish dead last.
Or you DNF.
Or you DNF, of course. And it's the same as Here's one then, just while you've said that.
Yeah.
What happens if, say, the bottom 3 cars DNF? Do they just score no points because they didn't finish? Even though they're in.
Yeah, and car 3 get car 19, or whoever crosses 19 gets a 3 point.
Yeah, that's fair play. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
You've got to finish to score the points. I think you've got to get the car across the line to get the points.
Yeah.
But what we've got now in a season where there's a one dominant driver, 5 races in, there could be a whole race win plus ahead if they've won the first 4 races. And that if the second place person's the same person, if it's a different person, it could be a race win plus a sprint win ahead. And then half a season in, you're like, oh well, they're de facto champion. Well done.
Yeah.
What's the point now? I know when they did the whole reshift the points, it was like, oh, do you really reward the first person? The first person to cross the line. Get it? But you're giving him 3 points in our system. You're giving him 3 points more than the guy who finished behind him. You're rewarding him.
That's it.
And actually, he can win the first 4 races and still only be 12 points ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And then race 10, 11, 12 in the season, you're kind of looking at it going, well, actually, he's had a really good season, but he's going to have to keep the form up all season because one bad race, one DNF, and you're keeping the excitement going. And not only that, if you come back to the back end of the field, every point is precious.
Of course it is.
Every single point is precious. You're going to see, like, oh, well, we're running around in 17th. We're just going to pull you in for hard tyres just to get some data. No.
Yeah.
The guy ahead, he's only 4 seconds down the road. Push.
Yeah.
Push. We might be able to get an extra point here. And everybody's going to be vying for points. And even if you're dead last, unless like you've been lapped and you're like, okay, well, my race is cooked.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
You're going to keep every single overtake. There's nothing worse than watching a fantastic race and going, oh, look at the move he's just put on him for 13th.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It was worth nothing. 2 laps from the end. Fantastic move. But you may as well have just stayed where you were.
Yeah, I mean, this season, especially that we've just had, 2025, wasn't much. Well, I'll say there wasn't much. There wasn't very much action up at the front.
No.
There was a little bit here and there, but it was very dead. And as much as when those happened, it was impressive drives and all that, all of the action was happening mainly from, say, 8th downwards. the back end of the field this year was full of action. It was action packed, and it's not being rewarded. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And if you're, especially in the, let's face it, in the constructors, one extra place finishing high in the constructors makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
So if you're a team and you're, I don't know, if you're 17th, 18th, 16th, whatever, and you're going, these points matter to my team. I need to get that extra place. I need to finish 14th, 13th, whatever. That it would be, I think it's so much more rewarding for the teams as well, lower down the constructors who are going, this weekend, it wasn't the best, but we scored 7 points. That's amazing. And I think it rewards all of the small improvements and the great drives that some of these lower drivers are doing. And a lot of the time, it's purely they're in a lower down car. They're not as competitive as the top ones. Fine. But you look at the likes of Hulkenberg last year, absolutely made up for him to be on the podium.
Yeah.
But having said that, he has done great driving up until that point. It's just not being rewarded, and that's the shame of it.
Yeah.
The fact that he has to wait until he gets on a podium to have his moment of glory, when actually he's done great drives, but he hasn't been rewarded for that in points for his team, and then finishing higher up the constructors. I think it'd be so much better. Yeah.
I know there might be some people who think like, oh, you don't want to reward mediocrity, but it's not about that. It's about rewarding racing. You want to encourage racing, give people points for it. You know, tell them it does matter if you finish 17th or 18th. It does matter if you get that overtake 2 laps towards the end and get yourself up into 12th. It really does matter. Like, you're not kind of going, well, my race is cooked. I'm just a moving roadblock right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring it home. I'm going to collect some data, and then I'm going to go and have a shower. You're actually saying, no. Every second that you're on the track is going to matter here, because you can bring in points. And how much closer would not only the Drivers' Championship be at the top end, but the Constructors' Championship be, as you've already alluded to, like all the way through. You're not going to see McLaren finishing 200, 300 points ahead, Mercedes, Red Bull finishing 200 or 300 points ahead after 16 races or whatever. You're going to see a tighter championship both on the driver side and the constructor side. And if we want an exciting season, we need exciting races. If we want exciting races, we need to reward the racing that's being done on track.
That's exactly right.
I think that's...
I couldn't agree more.
That's kind of thing. And just like with the team point side, I think we spoke about this briefly in the past as well. Just with rules and regs and what we'd like to see. What personally I'd like to see is if there's a team screw up, so unsafe release, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the team takes a hit as well. So if the driver gets a 5-second penalty, the team gets a 5-point penalty.
Yeah, off the constructors' points.
Off the constructors' points, because if you're the driver in that scenario, and I know some people will disagree with this, but here's my reasoning for this. If you're the driver in that scenario, you've just pitted, you've got 3 people at every wheel, you've got 2 people at the front, you've got at least 1 person behind you. You can't see anything. How are you solely responsible for being told you can go?
Yeah.
You see the green light, you nail it, you get out, and if you end up blocking somebody else or impeding somebody else, you get the penalty.
Yeah.
The team's got to bear some responsibility there, I think.
Yeah. Well, that was only like, was it qualifying in Azerbaijan last year? And one of the Williams was sent out with one of the air coolers still attached to above the driver's head.
Yeah.
And that was a penalty for the driver.
Yeah.
For starting the race. Mm-hmm. And you go, I'm sorry, is the driver now responsible for making sure the car is safe to leave the garage? That's not his job. No. Why have you penalised the driver for that? I'm sorry. And it's, to be fair to the driver, he pulled out the pits, he pulled straight over, and it got removed. It's not like he went for a lap and it flew off and hit a spectator, or unfortunately not one of the stewards. It's not like anything happened. He just left the pit, and that's not his fault. at all.
Or we've seen it in the past where they've left the pits and the wheels come off because it's not been secured
Yeah.
properly. Were they personally responsible for the wheel gun?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I understand them getting a
Yeah.
penalty, getting a time penalty. I understand that if it's impeded somebody else's race, I completely get that, and I'm all for if somebody else has had to pay a repercussion for your team mistake, then you as a driver have to pay some sort of penalty as well. I get
Definitely.
that, but the team's got to bear some responsibility.
Oh
It
yeah.
can't just be on the driver, and it can't just be here's a £15,000 slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
It's got to be, well, your driver had to serve 5 seconds. You're going to lose 5 points.
Completely.
And again, it makes the teams more accountable for the mistakes that they make. So
Oh yeah.
hopefully they'll make less, but it has some impact. If a team makes a mistake, it has some impact on the Constructors' Championships.
Yeah.
If just like if a driver makes a mistake, it has an impact on the Drivers' Championship. I think it's only right. Some people may agree, some people may disagree. It'd be fantastic to hear what you all think about it. Tell me how wrong I am, but but yeah, I think for me, team mistake, team penalty.
I completely agree. I mean, there has been instances in the past where we've looked at it and gone, "Oh, come on, how's that the driver's fault, really?" And the teams all just stand there and shrug their shoulders, and over the radio go, "Oh, sorry about that. We didn't see him coming down the pit lane." And you think, "Oh, you did," because, like you say, you've got that many people stood around you. You can't see out your mirrors, and as a driver, all you're focusing on is looking at that light to see when it turns green. Second it turns green, you're off. You're gone. And I don't really see how we can have drivers be, well, not the drivers be accountable for it. Like you say, if it impedes somebody, it's got to be a time penalty, without a doubt. But the teams can't get off scot-free. That is not fair. And talking of teams, I'm sorry, but whilst you are in that shirt,
let me just grab my hoodie because
it's there has to be less team orders. There has to be.
Totally agree.
And I don't mind it when, say, like we've had it this year, even when Russell has, been behind Antonelli and he's gone, "Oh, I'm faster than this. I can go faster. Let me hunt him down. If I can't, I'll give him the place back." Fair play. Give it a go. And to be fair to Russell, I don't often compliment Russell. He's been a man of his word. He has always given the place back. And I think that's fair enough. I get that completely. No problem. But all of this papaya rules nonsense just absolutely cheesed me off to no end. And I think, don't get me wrong, it's not a rule. Nobody can regulate against it. And I'm not suggesting they bring in something to regulate against it either, because that's daft, because you'll end up getting silly suggestions to drivers being taken as, "Oh, they're giving team orders, let's give a penalty." I'm not suggesting penalties for it or anything. I just want to see, if we're trying to have rules that encourage racing, why on earth have we got it where, one driver's going, "Oh, can I please be let past because, I had a bit of a slow pit stop and, I broke a nail. Can you let me pass, please?" No, I'm sorry. If you are that quick of a driver, get on down the road and catch him up, especially when the driver themselves have made that decision.
Yeah.
If it was a team decision, all right, yeah, I kind of get it. But all we want to see is the actual racing. And we want to see the drivers prove to us why they are winning this championship.
Yeah.
They should be the quickest driver on the track. They should be doing the best overtakes. They should be, they should be dominating. You should not have to sit there and ask your team for a helping hand along the way of, "Do me a favor, just move him out the way for me because I think it's fair." No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm totally with that. I mean, I think there's always going to be team orders wrapped up in
Of course there is.
wrapped up in cryptic messages and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want to see. I don't mind the, "Hey, I'm quicker, let me through." Like you said, let me attack, and because that's the driver kind of going, "Hey, listen, any chance, right? Because I am technically quicker right now. But
Completely agree.
if I can't get it done, like you say, I'll give it a play. We've seen that done in the past. We've seen, Lewis do it. We've seen George do it. We've seen so many drivers do it in the past.
Oh yeah.
But stuff like the kind of in a way, kind of manipulating race results.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to let him pass because slow test, or even the and me and you've been back and forth on the Yuki Lando thing, right? Back and forth, and I'm not gonna go into that, but the Lando's behind you, you know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that either.
Yeah.
Because that is basically saying, right, you just gotta slow that guy down. Like, doesn't matter what you do. Like, no, and I know.
Yeah,
but also needs to be said in that message is Lando is behind you. Because what happened was, you know what to do. What happened was then Yuki then decided that he was on a zigzag course down that straight, and then we get into the white lines and all that kind of thing. And I just don't want to hear. I just don't want to hear. By the way, you've got a job to do on this guy behind you type thing. They should already know that.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but I really don't agree. Right? And no, the problem for me there is, yes, I understand it is a little bit manipulative. It's like, hey, you need to do a deed on this guy behind you. Don't mess around. I think the problem is we're looking at that from the latest event of it. So you're looking at what Yuki did. Now, I completely understand why you're looking at what Yuki did, because he did a bad job of it, right? However, when that order was given to Perez, that was some of the best racing ever.
I'm not denying Perez was on it on that race.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
But the order shouldn't be.
That order, no, I understand that. However, when that happened in 2021 and Perez did that amazing defense at Abu Dhabi against Hamilton, nobody went, oh, they shouldn't have said that over the radio. That was terrible. We all watched it and went, that was a masterclass in defense and racing.
I'm not arguing.
That's the problem. If Yuki had done a Perez type thing in that last thing and he did an amazing defense, not the stupid zigzag motion that he did just playing ping pong across the track. If he'd have actually done an amazing drive, nobody would have cared.
My issue's the message, and I don't want to hear the message. That kind of stuff. If say me and you are in a debrief and you're in a title fight, and I'm number 2, and we're in a debrief, or not a debrief, a race brief ready for the race. And they turn around to me in the race brief and say, by the way, if the guy who's hunting you down in the race is behind you, you know what you got to do, right? In that race brief, I go, yeah, not a problem. Then I get the message over the radio that says Lando's behind.
Yeah,
I know what I've got to do, and what I do next is on me. That's something I don't want to hear. That you know what you've got to do. Because what would have happened in that scenario if he'd put him in a wall?
Well, I'd be sitting here a lot happier than I am now.
I know. You'd be ecstatic.
No, I wouldn't.
But you know what I'm saying. Like, you get that message, you know what to do, and then next thing you know, the first opportunity, Yuki puts him in the wall accidentally.
No, I understand.
What's the commentary? What's the overall view? It's that. You know what to do. Put him in a wall. And it writes the story. I know it's a hypothetical. I know there'll be people going, oh, but he didn't. And I get that. I completely get that. It's the message for me. It's not what happens after the message. What happens after the message is what happens. It's you know what to do. Just tell him he's behind him. He should already know what to do. Those kind of radio messages for me paint the race in a bit of a... Like, it already painted that whole incident in a bit of a lie, as you've already said. If they just said to Perez, Lewis is behind you, and Perez pulled that drive, which was a phenomenal drive. Where was Perez towards his last season in Red Bull? Where was that Perez? Because he always had it in him.
Incredible.
Right? And to do it against not only like a 7-time world champion, but a 7-time world champion who was possibly in a slightly faster car.
Yeah.
Because the way that Mercedes developed through that season was
I agree.
amazing. It was phenomenal. But if he'd got the message Lewis is behind you, he'd have just done the same drive. It's the message, and part of the problem with that for me is if anything happens after that message, we've got a totally different view of the whole scenario.
Yeah, I do understand that side of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it does sound like a team order, not a heads up.
Yes, yeah, no, I do get that to a degree, but yeah, I suppose it's which way you take it, isn't it? And like I say, well, I suppose, yeah, like you point out, if something had have happened, that radio message automatically seems suspicious.
Yeah,
But yeah, although I haven't said that, there's so many stupid radio messages through the season. I mean, to be honest, I've never understood when they say box this lap, push on your way in. Well, why wouldn't he? Or make it a fast out lap. Well, why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
What was it? Was he just thinking about driving slow after he got a new set of tires?
I was just planning on popping the shops and getting a pint of milk on the way, and I just
yeah. Or like, careful, it's been raining. Do you think he hasn't noticed?
To be fair, George might need a heads up with that.
That's true. It could be sweat on his visor.
Could just be sweat on his visor.
That's true. Still one of the best memes ever, by the way.
But yeah, I just think like the team orders thing. Like if it's effectively race manipulation, I don't want to see it.
No, I get that.
Because again, I know I said this about Spain and all this, but let's say Oscar hadn't let Lando through, Max would be champion now, because there's no way Lando was catching him. You know, and effectively that one race result wrote out was very influential in the closing standards, and it was essentially a swap places for no other reason other than we've told you.
Yeah. But whilst we are on the idea of the point system, and I think this is one of our final ones, to be fair, I'd love to see the fastest lap back.
Yes.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah.
I just think I understood to a degree why they took it away, because of net zero and tyres. Well, they've still got the same tyre allocation, regardless of whether they go for the fastest lap or not. And actually, I quite like seeing who gets the fastest lap. And if it is somebody towards, well, that's the other thing that needs to change, though, if we are going to have it back, is regardless of where the person finishes on the grid, if they get the fastest lap, they get the point.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if they're 19th or 22nd even, it's 1 point. It's for fastest lap. Just for giggles, let somebody have it.
Yeah.
Just let somebody have it. And I used to really enjoy the tactics of that as well. You know what I mean? You'd have the, obviously, Hamilton-Max title fight, and you'd have Bottas coming out trying to do a fastest lap. Max would get in his way. And it'd just be that thing of, oh, man, who's going to get this one extra point? Who is it going to be? And I really don't think in the grand scheme of... Yeah, but I just don't think in the grand scheme of F1, is a fastest lap really going to kill all the penguins? I don't think it is.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And if it makes me summer a little bit warmer, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
I really don't mind.
I definitely agree. It's got to be open to everyone. If that guy's been lapped, if he wants to, get a little bit of pride back in his weekend, throw some softs on and go for it.
Yep. Why not?
And it might not be a valuable point up front, but it could be a massively valuable point at the back. And fast, because it was always like, oh, hang on, he's boxing. Has he got enough space to come back out and get them up to temperature?
Exactly.
And the thing was, like 9 times out of 10, when the ones up front boxed for it, they were very safe.
Yes.
Like, well, I've got a pit stop in hand, I may as well. I'm not gonna catch the guy in front, but I've got 30 seconds to the guy behind. I'll give it a shot. Or I'm 30 seconds up the road in first. I'll go and get an extra point. I don't care.
Yeah, of course.
Right, that's fine. But if it's down the table and you're like, is it worth is it worth gambling this now? Should we give it a go?
Yeah.
We could come out ahead of 18th and maybe score 6 points instead of 5.
Yeah.
But
Completely.
yeah, I definitely go all the way down the grid with it.
Yeah.
All the way
I
to the
think
end.
that's the thing. If you open it up to the lower end of the grid as well, it also helps those small little increments of points, whether it's if you manage over a season to get 5 faster slaps, those points could make a massive difference to where you and your team end up come the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I just think it makes a big difference. Giving it only to the top 10, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? It's 1 point, for goodness sake. It's not going to make a world of difference. But if you open it up to the whole grid, I just think 1 extra point for grabs. Come on.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? And I used to like seeing who got the fastest lap. Do you know what I mean? Because it used to be, oh, he's got the fastest lap, but there's 5 laps to go. What if, whoever, Bottas or, Perez jump in, fastest lap. And you think, yeah, I used to enjoy that. Whereas now it comes up, oh, this person's got the fastest lap. And you look at it and go, who cares?
Yeah.
Why are you even telling me who's got the fastest lap? What's it matter anymore?
They're going to get a nice tyre trophy. Well done.
Yeah, big whoop.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It really does not matter.
No.
It's
I'd love to see that come back as well. To be fair,
I would as well.
I really would. Just add that little bit more, another little element of excitement to the race.
Well, a little bit of spice never hurt anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're scoring points all the way down, it's definitely gonna be worth chasing the extra points if you got the option, if you got the opportunity to do it. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. But I think they are our, I say, rules for encouraging racing.
Yeah.
There are rules.
Yeah.
None of them will ever be adopted, but they are our rules.
Yeah, the things that we'd like to see, and some of them are about the racing, some of them are about the officiating, some of them are just overall things we'd like to see. Something, but
completely,
we know we're not going to be agreed with by everybody who listens to this.
Oh no,
we're not going to be.
No.
There's going to be some people who are going to be like, no, but what are you chatting? What are you?
Yeah, but having said that, me and you don't always agree with each other on everything either.
No.
Because we've had many long discussions about F1. Mainly, we watch every race of the year together, unless there's holidays involved. And there are a lot of discussions where we don't agree with each other on things, and that's perfectly fine. There's no problem with that. And if anyone watching this has their own ideas, I'd love to hear them and all. Please do put them in the comments. And if you don't agree, let us know what's your idea. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say these are the rules and how they should be. Nobody else has an opinion. Far from
it. That's the thing. Is yes, this is just two buddies sitting and chatting, but the wider thing of this is we want to encourage conversation with the people who are listening as well. So
that's
if you agree, if you disagree, if you've got your own thoughts on what you'd like to see to make F1 a bit more exciting, if you're happy with it the way that it is, let us know. Let us know in the comments. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, do find your way over to the YouTube channel, Social Media Stewards F1 Podcast. You'll find this episode. Leave your thoughts in the comments there as well, or on any of the TikTok or Instagram reels that you see. Leave your comments. We do see all of them. Thank you so much for everyone who's watched the first 2 episodes, who's listened to them on the podcast as well, and who kind of inputted a few comments as well. Speaking of that, one thing I'd love to see, actually, Marty in the comments, and I totally agree with him. I would like to see the cameras focused on the racing and not on the girlfriends in the paddock. 100% agree with that one. So go on.
That was the other one. That was the other one that me and you spoke about. Was I'm sick to death of watching lap 1 and then rewatching lap 1 on lap 3.
Yes.
I've just watched it. If there's a safety car, fine, man. Show me a replay of lap 1. But for goodness sake, I don't want to see lap 1 from 8 different cars on boards on lap 3.
Yeah.
Can you just let me watch the race? If you want to put it up in like a picture-in-picture, up in the top left, no problem. But stop showing me this nonsense. And the
Mhm.
other side of that is I don't like the grid walk either. It's loads of fancy pants people I don't even know. I don't care about their opinion on F1.
Mm.
Move aside.
Yeah.
Just show me the cars and the drivers, team principals, engineers. Speak to them, man.
Yeah.
Get all these muppets off the get them off the grid. I'm sorry. No,
Well, as you may have guessed, folks, we could go on
no.
for a long time if you let us. But I do think we've
I
probably
think so.
hit about our limit today.
One thing we did forget to say at the start of the
Mm.
podcast, though, and I do apologize, is Happy New Year to anyone who's listening.
Yes,
It is the first podcast of 2026.
it's all melted into one over the last few days.
I know it's, oh man, I don't even know what day it is.
But yeah, Happy New Year,
But
folks.
yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. And thank you to anyone who has listened. We do
Mm.
really appreciate it. And yeah, if any of you have got any opinions, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, definitely a conversation, not a dictatorship.
Yeah, and new episodes will be out every week, barring kind of any like holidays and things where we can't get together. The plan is every week, even during the off season, we'll find some stuff to talk about. Don't you worry. But
Yes.
that's going to be us for the day. If you've been watching on YouTube, do like and subscribe. If you know anybody who loves F1 and wants to get involved in the conversation, do refer them to the podcast. It'll be greatly appreciated. But until next time, thanks for listening, folks, and take care.
Yeah. Goodbye.